If you're going through a divorce and fighting to keep the house, I need you to hear something. The house isn't always the win. In fact, one of the biggest financial lessons I learned after my own divorce came from keeping the house. And before you misunderstand me, I'm not saying keeping the house is always the wrong decision. I've helped many clients successfully keep their homes after divorce. For some families, it absolutely makes sense. But what I want to share today is something that I wish someone had shared with me before I signed my settlement agreement. Because what looks affordable on paper and what feels affordable in real life can be two very different things. If you're new here, my name's Tami Wollensak. I'm a divorce mortgage specialist, and this channel is really dedicated to helping you make informed financial decisions before you sign your divorce settlement agreement. This video is part of my divorce financial guidance series, where each week we're unpacking one of the most important financial decisions people face during divorce. If that's something you could benefit from, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. So now, let me tell you a story. When I went through my own divorce, both my former spouse and I wanted the same thing. We wanted the kids to stay in the house. At the time, it felt like the right decision. The kids had grown up there, their bedrooms were there, their schools were nearby, their friends were nearby. Everything in their lives already felt uncertain. We thought keeping them in the house would provide stability during a very difficult transition. Honestly, I still understand why we made that decision. The intention was really good. The problem wasn't the intention. The problem was that neither of us fully understood what it would actually cost to keep the house long term. Like many people going through divorce, I focused on the mortgage payment. Can I make the payment? Can I qualify? Can I make the numbers work? The answers appeared to be yes. What I didn't understand was that affording the mortgage and affording the house are two completely different things. When there's two adults in a household, responsibilities are often shared in ways we don't even think about. One person handles one thing, the other person handles something else. One person notices when something needs maintained or maintenance needs to be done. The other person takes care of it. Then suddenly I was doing it all alone. Within the first 6 months after my divorce, I had a plumbing issue that cost me about $1,000. I remember standing there thinking, where's this money supposed to come from? Because the support I was receiving wasn't designed to cover surprise repairs. It wasn't designed to cover home maintenance. It wasn't designed to absorb unexpected homeowner expenses. And that was the moment I realized they may have bitten off more than I could chew. Not because I couldn't make the mortgage payment, because the mortgage payment was only the beginning. Today, I want to walk through the 7 hidden costs that almost nobody talks about when they're deciding whether to keep the marital home. These are really the expenses that don't show up in settlement negotiations. They don't show up in mediation discussions. They don't show up on mortgage applications. And they absolutely showed up in real life for me. So let's dive in. Hidden cost number 1, deferred maintenance. One of the biggest surprises I see with couples is deferred maintenance. Many homes have maintenance that they've postponed for years. Sometimes we walk around homes and we don't even see it. Maybe you've been busy raising the kids. Maybe you've been dealing with marital issues. Maybe you've been focused on work. Life happens. The problem is that deferred maintenance doesn't disappear because a divorce happens. It waits, and then it shows up at the worst possible time. I often ask clients, how old's the roof? How old's the furnace? How old's the air conditioner? How old's the water heater? But if you're planning to keep the house, you need to know. Because a house that seems affordable today may require tens of thousands of dollars over the next few years. Before you agree to keep the home, make a list of every major system and determine its age and expected remaining life. That exercise alone can completely change someone's perspective. Hidden cost number 2, annual maintenance. This is the category that really got me. Not because any one expense was huge, because they never stopped coming. The annual yard cleanup, the mulch, the tree trimming, the gutter cleaning, the driveway seal coating, the furnace servicing, the air conditioner maintenance, the pest control, the handyman visits, the snow removal, the landscaping, on and on. Individually, these expenses don't seem overwhelming. Collectively, they become substantial. And remember, many of the tasks your spouse may have handled themselves now become something you have to figure out or hire out. I certainly discovered that. There were 2 adults maintaining a home. Many things got handled without much thought. After divorce, I found myself paying for services that had previously been done by my former spouse. Nobody had factored that into my budget, yet it became part of my reality. So, quick question for you. Have you actually built a maintenance budget into your post-divorce plan? If not, that's something that we can talk about together. Hidden costs number 3, property tax increases. Here's something that catches people completely off guard. Property taxes rarely stay the same. In many communities, they continue to rise over time. And unlike discretionary spending, property taxes aren't optional. You don't get to skip them because money's tight one month. I've worked with clients who qualified comfortably at one tax level and then found themselves stretched out a few years later. The problem isn't today's taxes, the problem is tomorrow's taxes. When you're evaluating whether to keep the house, don't just look at what the payment is today. Ask yourself, what happens if taxes increase by 10%, 20%, 30% over the next several years? Can I still comfortably afford this home? Hidden cost number 4, insurance. Insurance has become one of the fastest rising homeownership expenses in America. I've seen homeowners shocked when they receive their renewal notices. Many people budget based on today's premium, but they don't budget for future increases. The issue is that insurance and taxes often rise together. Now you're dealing with 2 increases at the same time. And suddenly that comfortable payment doesn't feel quite so comfortable anymore. Financial breathing room really does matter, especially after a divorce. Hidden cost number 5, utilities. Let's talk about the bills nobody thinks about. Electricity, gas, water, sewer, garbage, internet, home security. These costs seem manageable individually, but larger homes typically come with larger utility expenses. Sometimes clients are keeping a house that was designed for 2 incomes while trying to support it with 1. Again, this isn't about whether you can make the payment. It's about whether the home fits the life you're building. Hidden cost number 6, support income risk. This is one of the most sensitive conversations I have with clients. Sometimes a person qualifies for a mortgage because they're receiving child support or spousal support, and that's perfectly appropriate. But I always ask, what happens if the payment arrives late? What happens if your former spouse experiences financial hardship? What happens if there's a disruption? I'm not suggesting people don't honor their obligations. Most do, but life does happen. There's job losses, health issues, unexpected circumstances do happen. The more dependent your housing plan is on support income, the more important it becomes to have reserves and contingency plans. You want a housing plan that can survive life surprises. Hidden cost number 7, large ticket items. This is a category that keeps people up at night. The roof, the HVAC system, the windows, the foundation, the plumbing, the electrical system, the appliances. These are not $500 problems. These are often thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. When I consult with clients, I encourage them to ask, if I had a $10,000 repair next year, what would I do? If the answer is, I don't know, that's really important information, because homeownership isn't just about affording the monthly payment. It's about being prepared for the inevitable surprises. Here's the question I wish someone had asked me. Not, can you keep the house, but should you keep the house? These are completely different questions. Many people can technically qualify. Many people can technically make the payment. The real question is whether the house allows you to live the life you want after the divorce. Can you save? Can you travel? Can you help your children? Can you build an emergency fund? Can you sleep at night? Can you breathe financially? because I remember reaching a point where I realized I was saying no to my kids more often than I wanted to. Not because I didn't want to do things with them, not because they didn't deserve it, but because I was carrying the weight of a home that required more than I had anticipated. And eventually I realized something really important. The goal wasn't keeping the house. The goal was creating stability. Those are not always the same thing. If you're considering keeping the marital home, please don't make that decision based solely on emotion. Don't make the decision based solely on the mortgage payment. And don't make the decision based solely on whether you qualify. Look at the whole picture: the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, the repairs, the support income, the utility costs, the lifestyle you want to create. Sometimes keeping the house is exactly the right answer. And sometimes letting go of the house creates the financial freedom needed to build a stronger future. If this video helped you, please subscribe and share it with someone who may be facing this decision right now. And if you're trying to determine whether keeping the house makes sense in your specific situation, check out my divorce home planning guide linked below. In our last video, we talked about the costly mistakes people make before signing their divorce settlement agreement. I'm going to put that video right here or one of these places on the screen. Watch that next, because the decisions you make before signing can impact your finances for years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.